In the latest session of Dr. Slaton Live, The Brain's Body, The Ultimate Experience, we delve into the intriguing realm of emotional resilience and personal growth with the esteemed Dr. Christopher Kevin Slaton. This episode is a transformative journey through the complex interplay between the brain and body, focusing on the concept of the crisis of self-Dr. Slaton provides profound insights into how fear and anxiety, often seen as debilitating emotions, can be harnessed and transformed into opportunities for courage and personal growth. By understanding the brain-body connection, listeners can navigate life's pressures with a newfound sense of control and awareness. Dr. Slaton emphasizes the importance of self-awareness as a pivotal element in personal development. The intricate dance between emotion, thought, and reflection is a lifelong journey, and this episode sheds light on how to manage these elements effectively. Listeners are encouraged to recognize and harness their internal energy, transforming raw emotional responses into passion-driven actions. This understanding leads to a deeper sense of self and empowerment, enabling individuals to process their energy independently and resist external influences. The session also explores the concept of self-leadership, urging listeners to take responsibility for their personal growth and well-being. In a world where social pressures are omnipresent, maintaining a sense of self-awareness is crucial. Dr. Slaton discusses the significance of reflective storytelling in understanding personal truths, highlighting the importance of self-motivation and the support systems around us. By staying informed and true to oneself, individuals can navigate societal challenges and harness their energy to achieve personal success. Get ready to experience the ultimate social and cognitive transfer. To process learning, go to Slaton. This session will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 now.
Learning your brain's body has never been more vital. This is how you move through the crisis of self. I'm talking about education and science, the brain's body, help to improve brain, body, and sense events. Because in the beginning, when you're in crises, you want to begin to understand how you recover. And you recover by understanding what self implies, what is in you to help you evolve through the crisis of isolation and withdrawal. You begin to participate or perform at a higher level. So moving through the crisis of self, what is more scary than when you are scared? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Be cool. See if the image calms you down. Do you collect a sense of feel for the roles of your brain and body? Each day you look for signs of care for self. When you do not feel for self, then what it feels like to be scary is you. Your brain is in the body through your sense of feel for self to teach you how to be cool. Your brain is in the body through your sense of feel for self to teach you, I'll say it again, how to be cool. You use your brain to feel your body through your sense of self. What am I talking about? The crisis of self. Because that energy calls you to react. And instead of warmly and coolly touching, you react with anger, fear, and anxiety. That could be scary, short of signs of care for how you look, feel, and think, because you're not imagining yourself. And that's what I want you to think about when you talk about the brain's body. I want you to be able to imagine what you look like to another person when you're reacting to their contact and not willing to interact to understand how to care for self through their interplay with you, that sense of feel for self and them simultaneously. And so we're talking about Brain Talk, a revolutionary guide to human system science. Human system science is a way to learn the physics of self in relation to sense contact and the process flow of environmental influences that affect receive path interaction, neural transformations from the physical self to the neurophysical self where you begin to understand what's going on inside of you. Stop it. You're in control. Stop it when you learn you. Stop it because you're in the lead. That's your brain I'm talking about. And so this is the way energy, action, and feelings move through sense and receive path process loops as brain, body, and sense messaging. The physical and neural transformation between social cognitive interplay. Now listen, social and cognitive. That means that the social environment and your inner self are transformations of the experience. And that's natural. And that's what I want you to understand, because you have a natural processor. And that's the crazy self, because when you begin to interact with another person, that's an external influence, which changes the natural processing to mechanics, because you must be predictable, you must be controlled, you must be managed, and you must be focused, because you want to be understood in the program. The physical and neural transformation between social and cognitive interplay moves from a sense of self, the physical self, to the sense of feel for self, the neurophysical self process stages. In other words, social and cognitive contact interaction moves from a sense of self, the physics of self, to the sense of feel for self in the experience of the neurophysics of self. Now, wait a minute. We talking science, human science. No, wait a minute. You're not getting this in school. You're not getting this in the workplace. You're not getting this from your therapist, because the transformation from the external self is the environmental confusion that you go through when you're trying to make sense of what happened. And that's the neurophysics of self. That is you thinking through the experience of emotion in the moment, jarred by reflection backward and forward. See? Because the brain produces energy that calls to the brain the synthesis of additional experiences and information flow to respond in the lead to help you through the crisis of self, the external environment. You change because you're being changed, but you're also changing within through your energy, action, and feelings. That's why I wrote that. This is why a sense of feel for self can help to shape brain talk as cognitive, mental, emotional, thoughtful, and reflective stages of becoming more aware. Dr. Slaton Live, reflective storytelling, listen, the crisis of self, understanding brain, body, and sense messaging. Understanding, listen to your brain, listen to your body, listen to your senses, because they are what causes you to become a telepathic energy, where you go and you say, well, I don't know where that came from. It came from you, because you are a technology. But you have to learn how to operate your technology yourself. No one else can do this but you have to care. No, that's the first thing you turn off, is your feelings of self-care. That's why the last 2 episodes have been about love and care, because you turn that off. And when you turn it off, you dumb it down, because you don't want to experience the pain, hurt, and sadness and the struggle of trying to lift yourself up to that higher level when everybody around you is just just moving through the motions. But you can't do that. Why? Because you are reaching for your human potential. Your human potential. This is a sense of feel for what it feels like to be human that connects bodily and social acts to the experience of self to receive path responses that include other people and the environment. That's the essence. That is the essence. And let me show you why. Because first is you against the world, right? No, until you meet that other person that helps you understand the environment. Now you together are moving through home, school, neighborhood, workplace, networks, family, education, government, business systems. And now you're beginning to understand what happened. What happened? Social cognition means that the reactions of the body and the response of the brain are observable events, measurable events. This is why you can sense, feel, and focus mental, emotional, thoughtful, and reflective flows of energy, action, and feelings to become more aware. Your sense of feel for self is an intentional act to live through contact and learn through received path technology. Technology, because you're creative. I'm saying to you, as you age and mature, you develop internal instincts for responding to the complexities of the environment. And that's what I'm saying to you. You got to calm down, settle down, stay focused, and believe that you can learn how to win from the inside out. Lift yourself up. The cavalry's not coming. You have to lift you up. That's what we're talking about. The ultimate experience. You got to lift you up. There's no one coming. You're it. That was the hardest thing for me to understand when I was a lot younger than I am right now, to understand how the brain responds to the body, how the body reacts to the brain. Your sense of self expands to a sense of feel for the experience of information flow. Wow, there it is, the ultimate experience again. Energy, action, feeling. This means that you can make sense of why it can become more difficult to evolve from one process loop to the next, lacking signs of a clear receive path response. Now remember, we're talking about sense and receive path functions, and that receive path is a neuropathic path. Okay? So when you pick up the book, I break these things down for you, make it more simple for you to begin to practice learning how to evolve through the experience of emotion, because right now you shouldn't be so emotional. Wherever you are, if you're infant, it's okay. Infancy to, let's say, age 10, it's okay. But once you reach 10, no, you got to start handling that emotion and transferring that emotion so that that emotion is behind thought and reflection. Because it's called passion. Because it's processing the experience and the cause and effect. So now all that energy that people are excited about, they say, oh, he's very passionate. She's very passionate. That's what you want. In other words, the brain creates states of mind which frame the cognitive struggles between emotion, thought, and reflection, which includes the synthesis of effects, and influences your sense of self, your sense of feel for self, and the convergent process loops relate to brain, body, and sense messaging. I'm talking about brain talk. Here we go. Decode the language of the brain and the body. You see what I'm saying? The brain and the body, emotion and thought are in conflict lifelong, because you have to balance those things that are moving through you, energy, action, and feelings. That's the brain and the body. And the senses, connections. You isolate, you withdraw, it breaks apart. You're not whole. You're wondering what happened. No, you got to understand how to process your own energy. I say it again, process your own energy, not someone else's. That's a key. And keep coming, because I'm going to say it one more time. Process your own energy, not someone else's, influencing your judgment. I said it. Okay? Speak the truth. Speak the truth. Sense contact creates information flow between external, environmental, and internal self, the internal self. This is why you need to become more informed about brain, body, and sense messaging. You have an inborn drive between the social cognitive energy to sense and feel the experience of the brain-body connections. Your body is a physical and social system that you learn from the inside out to collect a sense of feel for self. I will keep on telling you that, because that's key to your technology. That's key to your belief system. Because once you begin to practice progressive investing, living each day, become more informed about how you learn to live, think, and respond from the inside out. No, it's takeoff. It's takeoff. Why? Because you're practicing, improving who and what you're becoming as you become more and more aware of sense and receive path functioning. Yes, you're doing this work yourself. Connect deeply with the brain's social cognitive functions. Now, there it is. And that's how they say it. I'm talking about, no, in the literature, they say social cognitive as one. But when I break it down, I want you to understand that there's the social, right? And then the transfer to the brain, which is cognition. That means that it's no longer physical, it's neural. Okay, that's what I want you to understand. Because that's where people get lost. They just think cognitive means process. No, cognitive means like when you're watching a scientific movie and the robot is sitting there and you give them an instruction, they show you all these bells and whistles on the inside. That's the process variables that take place, that your brain sends forward to capture that information flow and push it through the system, and the brain is responding through forward feed. Okay? And so we talk about that. Why the brain is so important. You just can't stop. Understanding the brain, social and academic challenges. This is the most important part about my work, because I want you to understand why you're listening if you're still there. Because we're talking about social and academic, but we also talked about the social and the cognitive. Because social and academic is not the same. Inside program, social means modeling, learning from what you see, modeling. So the teacher models a behavior. They want you to accept and duplicate, copy, reflect, and then process their information flow, their language, into the mechanics of self, so that you become more informed about the content of that information flow. So when they ask you to respond, it is predictable because you've accepted the program. And there's nothing wrong with that, except many children have to many people have to dummy down, and the word dummy down. And when they dummy down, it's hard for them to come back up, because they know when they dummy down, they're disconnecting from their sense of feel. The brain's creativity to change the information flow with your identifiers of who and what you're becoming, the technology, through the conversion processes that the brain takes the information flow through. So the shift from the social cognitive information flow through sense and receive path functions accentuate external tension, stress, and pressure, such as how the flow between emotion and thought feel in the receive path. Since the goal to become more mental and physical, there it is again. See, we're talking about the body, which is physical. We're talking about the brain, which is mental. We're talking about the brain leading the body, because the body cannot do this without the brain. So the brain has to be in the lead of the body, right? So here we go. Did you know Dr. Slaton's book boosts understandings of young minds? Because what are we talking about? I'm trying to get you to understand that your mind is supposed to have a programmed state, a reflective, fixed way of responding, because you're learning how to fit into society. That's called socialization, and it's okay. But as you age, your sense of feel for self is supposed to mature, and that's the entrepreneurial side of academic, where you begin to recreate from your understandings of the academic language systems how to rewrite the code so that you can perform at a higher level. Many children are doing it. Many others are being left behind because they've disconnected from the sense of feel for self. They can't turn it back on to go to the next level. So what's happening to them? They're upset, they're angry, they're frustrated. Why? Because now, as you age into the system, you must become a performer. You must know how to read, write, act, draw, perform. Basics of communication, human communication, information processing systems that quantify in terms of how well you move into the social system, creating new technology. so that you're writing the program, but you understand the language of self and the program, because when you deal with the neurophysical self, what are you talking about? The language system, self. Now, what are you translating? Why do we have the computers mimicking the human system? That's what I'm talking about. Let's keep going. I want you to know why you're here, or why you're studying with Dr. Slaton Live. Learning how the brain learns a mental exercise. Do you feel it? Improve how your brain receives instruction through the sense path, which can lead you to become more experienced at solving the crises of self. Do you believe it? That's the first step. Do you believe it? Go back to that first book, 2022, Education, Science, the Brain's Body. This is your begin point when you begin to understand what we're trying to get you to understand how to do. Understand the brain, understand the body, understand the system as your senses, because your senses connect the brain and the body, which allows you to perform. Now, these are the classes I've been talking, that I've been inviting you to participate in. And so, Introduction, Education, Science, and the Best of the Child, I want you to pick up that book. But when you pick up that book, we're talking about children that are moving through the educational system, some in special ed and some outside of special ed, working collaboratively through building human assets projects, utilizing language arts to communicate the crisis of self. And in doing so, you're talking about brain talk, because that's what you're teaching a child when you teach them how to read. Listen to how it feels. Listen to the noises and sounds of your inner voice, but then listen as you begin to write things down. And that brain talk takes over the inner voice. And you begin to speak the truth because you feel it, right? You say journal. No, this is beyond journaling. This is you talking to your brain and understanding through awareness. I'm repairing my sense and receive path so that I can begin to understand how to move beyond the crisis of myself, because I get in my own way. That's what we talk about in the reflective storytelling. We're talking about how do you move beyond the crisis of self. Stop self-defeating behavior. Introduction, Education, Science, the Brain's Body. Listen. Dr. Slaton Live, your guide to emotional intelligence. I just said you want to be emotionally stable by the time you turn 13, definitely by the time you turn 19. And what that looks like is you're processing the emotion. Yes, you're still emotional, but now you're processing it into levels of forward feed. That means that your reactions are being minimized by the forward feed, which is the brain's response, because now you're more aware of the consequences. So your brain catches up, and the brain begins to take the lead of the body, and the body begins to follow the brain's lead. That's balance. So now you have thought, reflection, emotion. Okay? Because that's passion, like I talked about before. Here we go. But you got to learn these things. Because Introduction to Brain Talk, Learning the Brain's Body with Dr. Slaton Live, learning the magnum opus of brain talk is indeed the essence of talking to the brain and not the body. Listen to me. Because think about what I'm saying to you, and then when you got your own time, you stand in the mirror, ask yourself, how do I talk to me? And if I can talk to me, doesn't it make it easier for me to talk to somebody else? Because I'm becoming mindful, I'm becoming prepared. I'm preparing myself for interaction with other people because I'm understanding how to care for them. I must receive the flow from myself so I can relate it to other people. So when I'm talking to them, my brain is sending forward feed because I am in the lead. So that data, that feedback loop is meaningful to me because I am the source, because I'm participating. And even when I transition to the follower, I'm listening careful because my feedback keeps coming. Did I impress you or not? No, because it's brain talk. That's what I'm saying to you. You regain your sense of feel for self and the brain leader the body, because now you are managing. You understand? I'm managing me. I'm self-managed. No, look, I'm self-controlled. I control myself. No. I am focused because I focus myself. Because I sense, to feel, to focus the energy of self in relation to other people. So if you do get out of line, I'm not just going to react. I'm going to read your behavior and respond accordingly, because the consequences are on the front. Thank you very much. That's what we're talking about. How the brain lives. Now, wait a minute. Connect with your environment through brain talk. The telepathic energy that you can't avoid. Dr. Slaton discusses how sense and receive feedback research allows you to assess the external and internal effects of influences that disrupt the flow of information between brain, body, and sense connections. Wait a minute. That's academics. That's academics. You learn how to apply special process skills to study the crises we all may face. I just said it, all may face. Program. When emotion and thought collide during tumultuous events, reflective storytelling is a compelling call to speak the truth. You can't lie to yourself. Wait a minute. Because we're not talking about talking to another, we're talking about talking to yourself and understanding and comprehending the experience between self, reality-based, and how you look to engage another person. That's not you telling them what you think or feel. You accept the truth to move through them to perform, so that you can begin to understand the consequences of thinking and not thinking, and emotion and reflection in your brain, body, and sense message. Human system science. At the heart of Dr. Slaton's contribution lies the development of human system science. This is a knowledge rooted in self-directed learning. So self-leadership is what I'm talking about. Self-healing is what I'm talking about. Self-desire, self-motivation is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about no one has to push your button. There's no cavalry coming. You want to learn because at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself and everybody else who is supporting you. Because you know what? You are the lead dog. Other dogs are in this race, but they're not your friend. Because this is about economics, about capital. This is about how do I capitalize on my own energy because everybody else is trying to suck it out of me. Now I'm talking about the environmental influences that are competitively, naturally trying to gain the advantage by rehearsing you to dumb you down long enough for them to get a sense of how to move beyond you in the lead of you, where you're now following them. No, social learning, you're modeling their behavior. Before, check this out, it's measurable. They were modeling your behavior. They're trying to get you to model their behavior when they're trying to transition you to them. I got you. No, I'm saying no one's your friend. You have to continue to practice, learn how to live each day to become more informed, so that you can interpret these energies and continue to move beyond them cooperatively, because you don't want to be defined until you reach the goal line. The goal line is levels of success and appreciation where your support groups are thick. I think that's enough. I had a real conversation with these kids. I call them kids. I'm 65. I call them kids. Thank you.